This time with flat rate. We practice some fuel atomization. We fabricate a premium exhaust. We perform some professional carburetor modification.
Listen up, Crotch. Remember your training and trust your instincts.
And we consume more fuel than we can supply. All of this and more with your favorite YouTuber, Flat Rate. Right? Right.
Oh, come on. Ah, there we go.
But first, a quick recap. We retarded the timing so we didn't blow our engine. Stop revving it up sky high the first time we got to, drive it. We made the world's best asterisk downpipe out of nothing but a bunch of little pieces of pipe and a subpar welder, much like we did for our exhaust turbo header, which we made however many episodes ago. You can look back into it if you want. And all of this was to complete our very important goal.
The Beijing blowjob.
No, not that again. We're trying to build the world's cheapest turbo kit. Nice. Let's start off by talking about this little geyser we've got going on. You remember this from the beginning? Well, let's go ahead and call that Old Faithful. Now watch closely. Freeze. This is my accelerator pump, and that is a bunch of gasoline that is getting pushed by the boost from my carburetor bowl straight out into atmosphere. Play video. Well, that sure was something. Let's have a look. And I'm back. The power of friendship and, I don't know, turning off the video and turning it back on and splicing it. Anyway, got this little O-ring here. Cost me a whopping 37 cents and fits real nicely. I can't get air through there, which means I shouldn't be able to get fuel through there. Additionally, this little return spring that sits at the bottom of this accelerator pump, helping push it back up, didn't seem to be quite strong enough. It would never actually sit at the top of its stroke. Looked like it had about yay much play. So I went ahead and doubled that up, and it seems to return pretty nicely now. Let me go ahead and see how it works. You come over here. Now, I'm sure there's some of you out there that want a more complete explanation than that. Don't worry, I've got you covered. So, here we have a very beautiful, not Microsoft Paint drawing of an accelerator pump plunger, not to scale. And here, right here, is a little hole that is on top of the carburetor. The other side of this hole, it's nothing. It's atmosphere. It's on the outside. But underneath that hole, that is the inside of the carburetor. When the accelerator pump is not pressed down, which means your foot is not on the accelerator, that is not open to the inside of the carburetor, the fuel bowl. But when it is pressed down, you are venting through that little hole a whole bunch of air or whatever, which wouldn't be a problem if we weren't shoving 10 psi of boost right into that fuel bowl. And when that happens, a bunch of fuel is going to spray right out of the accelerator pump. And here is a tiny little O-ring, not to scale, that I put on the shaft of the accelerator pump to seal it from the atmosphere. When this is pressed firmly against that little hole in the top of the carburetor, no atmosphere. It's not open atmosphere, okay? In order to make sure that it is always in contact with the top of the carburetor, I incorporated a washer and a spring to make sure that no matter what position the accelerator pump is in, that O-ring is making contact with the hole so I don't blow a bunch of fuel everywhere. Understand? Alright, what was next? Well, since we're on the subject, let's transition into other carburetor modifications. So I'm having a little bit of a fuel starvation concern, which is not what you want. So if I'm bleeding the bowl dry, I assume I need to go ahead and up my flow. This thing has, I don't know if you can see it, a very tiny hole to feed through versus the actual diameter of the hose. So, maybe I can change that. I mean, it can't hurt. Alright, let's see what I can do. What can I do? I suppose you may be wondering what I'm up to. For the uninitiated, that is a die grinder. That little piece I was holding in my hand is the fuel inlet to the carburetor. And I, as I showed you before, no, that's not proper English. Oh, I'm bad at this. I am using the die grinder, which is a little handheld tool that spins a bit very quickly, to open up the hole on the carburetor inlet to allow more fuel in. I'll tell you for free that this is not all I had to do, but this was very helpful in getting to where it would work. But I still had to do one pretty big thing after this. And I'll show you that coming up next. I'd say I've more than doubled the size of that hole, which might be enough. If this doesn't do it, I don't think making the hole much bigger will. Not without more fuel pump.
More fuel pump.
Let's see what happens. I'm sure you can guess what happened. There we go. It comes as no surprise, especially to me, that the stock fuel pump was not going to keep up when we were shoving 10 psi against it, especially since it was probably only putting out 4 to 6. So I'm yanking off the old fuel pump here, and I've got something real special to throw in its place. There we go. Another day, another what am I doing? This is a used pump I had sitting around. It's just a high pressure pump off of 88 F250. And it's nice and cheap because I just had it laying around. It's free. It worked. Just made some, funny noise when it was on the truck, so I went ahead and swapped it out. A year or two ago. I've been using it to pull fuel out of whatever the hell needs fuel pulled out of it, but I think it'll work on this truck quite nicely because I just went and took a look. And the pump on this little hot rod, it's real easy to get to. So easy, I don't even need to get on my back. Yeah, it's right there. That's it. It's just right there. All right, let's do something real cool. That is, in fact, way too much. Look at this. Flood Central. Population us. Ah, well. Kind of what I expected. I have to get some kind of pressure regulator. Pressure regulator. That's the thing that I never actually bought. What I ended up doing was far more fun. But between then and now, all I did was try and make the float hold back all of that fuel. I'll let you decide how that worked. Too much pump. There you go. Okay. Long story short, float modification was not the answer. I may have inadvertently helped by stacking 2 springs on the needle valve to help it shut more firmly, but in the end, the only thing that actually fixed it was pretty well rigging up a bunch of electronics so I could pulse width modulate my fuel pump. Somehow, in all of my haste and lack of sleep, I forgot that I'm a 21st century digital boy, and I don't need to figure out how to make that carburetor take all of that fuel flow. And I don't need to figure out how to rig up a, say, any kind of bypass regulator, or buy one, which would cost more than the turbo I bought. No, none of that. I'm just gonna underdrive the pump. What I've got here, that I've had the whole time, bunch of MOSFET transistors, and a DC motor driver. Simple. So simple. Came to me in the shower. Oh well. Better late than never, I suppose. Take a walk. No, you probably don't want to be staring at me. As you can recall, we have the pump. Can you see the pump? You can see the pump, I'm sure. Simple. 2 wires. You give it 12 volts, turns on. Too much flow, too much pressure, I'm sure. That's a pretty high flow turbine pump. Came off of my Ford with a 460 in it. Fuel injected. But right here, I don't know if you can see this. Come on in close. This is definitely not how it was set up stock. so I don't know what the original fuel system was like, but these two wires, I turn the key on and that pump turns on. Now, probably doesn't take no genius to figure out that all I really have to do, oh Jesus, is either take the power from right there and pulse width modulate it down, so that pump is working about half as much, 3/4 as much. That'll probably take care of all the issues, or literally just swap those wires around, run 12 volts to it, because I only want to pulse, I'd really rather pulse width modulate the ground side, and use the other side from here as ground. I'll go ahead and figure out what's easier and I'll just do that. But you're about to see some weird stuff. I hope you're ready. Jeez. Let us begin. Don't you worry. I'm not going to subject you to a whole bunch of wiring. This video was like 3 hours long by itself. No, we're going to do everybody's favorite thing. Oh, am I explaining it right here? Hell, maybe I'm doing a better job explaining it here than I am, you know, with this voiceover. But I already made Microsoft Paint diagrams. We're going to go with the Microsoft Paint diagrams. Here we have our fuel system as it sat when we started tearing into the truck. Boring. Terrible. You get battery voltage in to that one red wire that was just haphazardly thrown in place by some previous hack. It wasn't me, I swear. Then it goes to the pump, and then from the pump to ground. Simple. Self-explanatory. Boring. This is that same diagram, made ready by the hands of an operative technician. There is a lot more going on here, so I'll try to keep it simple. We still have the battery voltage coming into the same connector. With this slight difference, the battery voltage is coming down and powering the motor controller. It is also coming down to the transistor. The voltage going to the top of the transistor comes out of the bottom middle section of the transistor. They are connected. Between that pin and the pin to its left, there is a resistor. This resistor is, if I recall correctly, around 1,000 ohms. This will give that other pin it is connected to 12 volts when the motor controller is off. If there's 12 volts at that pin, that means the transistor is on, and it will flow the full voltage to the fuel pump. But when that motor controller is on, and it is actively pulling down that voltage, you will flow less voltage to the fuel pump. At the top of this diagram, you will notice something labeled boost switch. This may or may not be a switch that comes on with pressure that may or may not be designed for GM vehicles to turn on the fuel pump with oil pressure. It may or may not have been really cheap, and when there is boost, it will send a full 12 volts to the pump. So I don't have to sit there and monkey with the motor controller while I'm driving. Explanation done. Whew. Here's a visual demonstration for you. It was at this point I took a short break to wrap my exhaust because it would start to get really, really hot, and I was a bit concerned about underhood temperatures. Just like I took a break with screwing with the carburetor, I'm going to go ahead and take a break and say, this video's about done. So enjoy this little montage of me doing whatever the hell I'm doing. And I'll catch you next time. Want more? Hit the stupid subscribe button. You know you want to. Watch my other videos to see how we got here. Remember to be safe, and if you can't be safe, have fun.